I've already told you I'm putting in an official complaint against you. I know people. Just wait and watch and see what's coming your way. And by that, Mazin, what I meant was, I know people within the hospital. I know people within the program. I know who to send my complaint to. So that's what I meant by wait and watch what's coming your way, because that's all my intention was, to put in a complaint. At no point have I threatened to harm her in any way. So yeah, and then I leave the department. I've gone. So on the 11th of March, I've now left the department, and I'm very serious about my complaint. So I then start drafting my letter of complaint. I then spend the next week or so drafting my complaint letter. On the 17th of March, I had organised a meeting or organised a call with my program director. And this call was essentially to discuss taking some time out of training to kind of support my nephew and just to work out which way we were heading with him, because this was all new to us. During that call on the 17th of March, my program director informs me that the head of school, so the head of the GP school, has been in contact with her and has asked her to get in contact with me to find out what happened on the 11th of March at the emergency department at the Queen's Medical Centre. When she says that to me, I'm quite confused. So I say to her, well, what's this about? Because I've not even put my complaint in. I've not put my complaint against the doctor. So how does the head of school know that something happened, right? So I asked my program director, and she says, I don't know. She's just asked me to ask you what happened. So then I say, well, so then I explain to my program director what happened, and I also say to her that I'm currently drafting a complaint letter which is almost finished, and would it be okay for me to send her a copy of that? And I also said to her, would it be okay for you to then send this complaint letter to the head of school so that she can see what happened? Program director agrees to that. Anyway, we then have a further conversation on the 24th of March. This is where I message the program director and inform her that I have now completed drafting my letter of complaint, and would it now be okay to send her a copy of it? And she says, that's absolutely fine. You can send it to me, and I will also forward it on to the head of school. But just for your information, are you aware that there's a complaint against you? The police are involved. The complaint's gone to the GMC, and the complaint's also gone to the lead employer.
Wow.
At that point, I'm thinking, what is going on? Like, a complaint against me for what? Like, what have I done that the police have to be involved, the GMC have to be involved, and the employer has to be involved? And up until this point, neither of them parties have made any contact with me or have informed me. Yet, my program director knows about it. So again, I start thinking, how does she know? Clearly, the head of school must have told her, but then how does the head of school know? So then I'm thinking, is there something else that's been brewing in the background that I'm just not aware of? On the same day, after that conversation with the program director, I get a phone call from the lead employer HR assistant. She says to me, we've had a complaint about something that happened in A&E on the 11th of March. She doesn't go into what the complaint is, neither tells me who the complainant is, but says to me, can you tell me what happened?
Yeah.
I obviously naturally tell her what happened, which is how I was treated. And again, the way I told the program director what happened, I then tell the HR assistant what happened. And I say to her, I've drafted a letter of complaint against that doctor, so I'm guessing the complaint is from that doctor. So can I please send you the letter of complaint? She says no at that time. The next day, I have another call from HR. So in that call, I'm informed that the medical director has decided to place restrictions on my training. Restrictions meaning I am only allowed to carry out non-clinical work from home. Therefore, I'm not allowed to go to work. Now, at that time, I was working in a GP practice near Matlock, which is miles away from the Queen's Medical Centre. Also, just so that people understand, the lead employer sits here the I'm part of the what at that point was the East Midlands Deanery, which sits here. Head of school is aware of what's going on because she has seen my complaint. Medical director here is saying I'm going to restrict your training, and where I work, they are called the host organisations. My host organisation in terms of the hospital I worked at for my training was Derby, okay, and then I worked in practices around that area. I took my nephew to the Queen's Medical Centre. That is not part of my training. That is not my host organisation, right?
That's Nottingham.
That's Nottingham. That's separate. That's where I took my nephew. So he says, I'm going to restrict your training, so you're not allowed to go to work. And the reasons given to restrict my trainings is because he now deems me as a threat to my colleagues. At that point, my mind is blown.
Yep.
I work in this practice miles away. This is not an issue with the people I work with, nor is this an issue whilst I'm at work. Why am I now being deemed as a threat to my colleagues? I don't understand that. I still don't understand that. So that's what I get told. You're not allowed to carry out any clinical work. You're not allowed to go to work anymore, essentially. You must now do educational work from home. Now, I'm a GP trainee. At the end of the day, I'm in a training post. I need to be at work. I need to be seeing patients. I need to be at work to be doing assignments, assessments, to log onto my portfolio so that at the end of the year, I have evidence to show that I've met the criteria for that year so that I can progress in my training. But you're now telling me that I must stay at home. And there's very little I can do from home to provide evidence that I'm meeting those requirements to get to the end of the year.